Good evening, everyone. Welcome. How are we doing, Blair?
Doing good. Interested to talk about this movie. It's a kind of like a major event in cinema history.
Yeah. Hey, Mags. How are you doing?
Hey y'all. I am good. Ready to talk about this movie. This is my first time ever watching this one. When you mentioned it to me and I was like, I've never heard of this. Like what is this?
Really?
Um but yeah, I'm ready to talk about it and really dive into it and yeah, can't wait.
Cool. Great. Let's say hello to this chat real quick. And we got the Nordporial life form. Hey, man.
Hey Brian.
Joseph Dredd.
Hey, Dread.
Shield Wall.
Hey
Hey.
Shieldwall.
Nosferatu, the everybody's favorite vampire. And that's it for right now. Alrighty. So, what was your first thought of this movie?
Very 1950s.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing about the trains running on time was kind of yeah. Back then, they didn't have air flights like they did now,
Right.
and that's people got around on trains just like they did in England now. So seeing these people, get on trains and taking trains to different destinations was, kind of a throwback to the old day. Hey, Zax.
Hey Zax. Mwah. It's
Also,
uh, it's
we
really
got,
interesting you say that, Blair, because it's true. Because they went from like New York to Washington to
mhm.
Baltimore. I mean, they mentioned Baltimore too, and it was like, that was like they just hopped on a train during a day, and then they just kind of either went to. I mean, people still do that today, but it's probably not as prominent. But back then, it was like you can go from New York City to DC for a meeting, and then go right back
Yeah.
to New York City. I mean, that was just what it was.
Mhm.
So.
Very
Go ahead,
cool.
Blair. Didn't mean to. Just wanted
Yeah,
to add.
yeah. It's like a really cool seeing that, the
Yeah.
trains, the train culture of the time,
Mm.
and then the intensity of the guy who wanted his father killed when he's shining up the tennis player. I mean, this guy was like, creepy as all get out. Like all the red flags are going off.
And then, like, so it's really funny, Blair, that you mentioned creepy. My first thought of this entire movie, like, because you know how there's always like an adjective or some sort of mood you feel about a movie, especially after the fact, whether it lifts you up, feels good, you feel excited, you feel gung ho, whatever. Um, the word that kept cropping up in my brain the entire time was creepy. Like the word creepy. I was like, this is
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
like,
go ahead, Blair.
yeah, you some stranger out of the blue kind
Hmm.
of forces himself on you, and you're too polite to tell him to buzz off.
Exactly.
And but then he like unloads on you and gets you drunk, and plies you with lunch and booze and cigarettes and lets you vent about your problems, and all of a sudden here comes a pitch.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, and
but
it's so funny too because back then, we talk about my dad always talks about this all the time. Now, I mean, not to go into politics, but you talk about a high trust society or a low trust society, and back then that was a high trust society. So
Yeah.
it was normal. I wouldn't say it was normal, but I would say if you talk to somebody on a train, whether it's a stranger or whatever, like most people were not that kind of guy. That guy, the creepy guy in the train. Like
yeah.
for the most part, that was just kind of typical in a way, not his way of doing things, but talking to a different stranger and getting to know other people and what have you, it wasn't very weird. So
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead.
Plus, just the way you're sitting on the train, you kind of like, unless you're reading a magazine or something or asleep, you're
Yeah.
basically going to be looking at somebody in their face. You might as well talk to them.
We didn't have
Yeah.
these things. So I
Right.
mean, and there was either a newspaper or a book or like a magazine, like that was it. Or you're listening to some music. The only other option was conversation with people.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
mean, what are we gonna do with the pass of time? So anyway, go
And
ahead.
two, the cues between the people. I
Hmm.
mean, somebody reading a book, you're like, okay, he didn't want to be messed with.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but this
Well,
guy
that's
just
how he met.
pushes
You know,
right
he
in.
did the foot tap thing. He like clacked his shoe and oh, I'm sorry. You know,
Yeah.
that's how it kind of like broke his concentration from the guy's book. That kind of gave him an in to start talking to the guy. Then he just wouldn't stop.
Oh god. He was he kind of weaseled his way into somebody else's life and world and completely turned it upside down because he was clearly not right in the head.
Yeah.
No, he was not. He
Run away.
I know.
That was
Don't.
my first thought, like,
If you meet
"Run."
these kind of people on the trains, y'all, today, run the frick away.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
today it would be
actually,
a problem telling somebody to get lost because
Yeah,
you know
nowadays you might get beat up on the train regardless of what you do. So I would
I
not
did put a
even.
poll up in the chat. So.
Oh, I voted. I voted no.
see me too.
I mean, would I have loved to have like aside from something like this, but like back then, meet people on the train? Like, absolutely, I wouldn't have minded having conversations with people,
No,
with different strangers. But
I
yeah,
wouldn't go into a private room with him.
no, I would say the dining car or something like that, or keep it public. But
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think everybody voted no.
whoever voted yes must have been Nos.
Probably.
I'm
That's
I'm
probably who
shouting
it
you out,
was.
Nos.
So yeah. Uh-oh. I love this opening part here where it just shows their feet.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's interesting, isn't it? Now I don't know if that is just because obviously Alfred Hitchcock was very into artistic cinematography, symbolism, and all that kind of stuff, and shots. So I don't know. I don't know the symbolism behind that. I mean, obviously we don't see their faces, but it's kind of like I guess this is trying to give us the feeling that these are like just it's not like there no people that are really too special. It's really, I mean, other than the tennis guy and maybe having some connections, but it just seems like random normal people meeting each other on the train. Like that's kind of the impression that I got with this shot, to make it seem very. And obviously these are actors that I'm not very familiar with. The only ones that I noticed that I was familiar with is later down the road, not to just skip ahead, but the senator.
Yeah.
I recognize, he was in North by Northwest,
Mm-hmm.
and as a
G-man.
CIA or FBI, head guy or whatever. And yeah, or at least the, in the field agency there. But and then the lady that he got to when he in the high society socialite stuff or socializing stuff, lady that he was demonstrating on, let's just put it, say, without revealing too much or getting ahead. But she was the lady, the widow in Witness for the Prosecution. So she was in that. So those are the only two that I recognized in this movie. But
I recognize the one guy, the crazy guy, from some stuff, but unfortunately, 8 months after the filming of this, he died.
yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that.
One.
That was crazy.
That's sad.
He was a really good actor, but I had seen him in some older stuff, the 40s. But yeah, he's like the only person I really recognized.
I did read something too that during the war that there were so many actors that signed up that they
Yes.
were in short need of actors.
Mhm.
And this guy might not have ever been anything, as an actor if he hadn't had bad eyesight, because it's like every door open for him. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, no competition, and all of a sudden you're available.
Well, and it's 1951, so it's off the heels of course, World War II, and we're going into the Korean conflict. So a lot of it wasn't too many opportunities. I mean, a lot of the guys were coming back home, but some of them, like Jimmy Stewart, for instance, he
Mm-hmm.
suffered a lot from, they didn't label this yet until later, but he suffered from forms of PTSD. And I'm sure it took a little bit for some of these actors to reacclimate again.
I know Charles Bronson, Jack Palance,
Mm-hmm.
Lee Marvin had all been in the war.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is when they started their careers, the early 50s. Well, Charles Bronson was actually in a bunch of war army movies and
Mm-hmm.
during World War II. He's like one of their like training actor people. But yeah, a lot of these guys, were getting out of the service and now they're finally, launching their careers.
Some of them did launch their careers because they served, and they had some, they befriended the actors and actresses or anybody else who was overseas with them. So anyway, sorry, Jacob, we didn't.
So are y'all? That's okay.
I
Are
like
y'all
talking
getting
about.
picture?
I like talking about building the picture and giving a what is going on at this time. And I love the old. It still gives like it's like a noir feel, black and white, and it still holds on to that 40s feel to it because you can see it in some shots.
Yeah,
Like,
this is like
it's like right on the peak of 50s feel.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, like you were saying, that it's an absolution shot. These are like those two total strangers coming from different directions, just happen to wander into the thing.
And he's like, "Hey, aren't you Guy Haynes, the tennis player?" It's
I
like,
mean, this might
"Oh
be
yeah,
typical on a train if there's a fan or sports, any celebrity or whatever, you might be like, "Hey, are you this famous person?" I
yeah,
mean, that's
yeah."
normal. But yeah, go ahead.
So he's probably used to it too, you know. And
Yeah, people recognize him. I think he even mentioned something about
The magazine or something like that. Yeah.
yeah, he was just in a magazine, some pictures.
Yeah.
yeah, and this guy's real pushy too. I mean, he doesn't even give him a chance to put his hand out to shake his hand. He just grabs his hand and shakes it. It's like, and moves closer.
The actor does a great job though of like this is a kind of it comes off as a normal type interaction, but he adds more of a creep factor to it where it's like you can't help but be the tennis dude and be nice and be what do you want to call it?
Respectful,
Respectful,
congenial.
charitable,
Yeah,
polite, whatever. Yeah, that's polite as the word I was looking for. But you automatically get your hackles raised because you're just like,
Yeah,
what is
right.
going on? This guy is like
What's this
weaseling
dude
his way
doing?
in and just kind of pushing it. Like he just kind of pushes his way in. But go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah. By
yeah,
the way,
he's
this tie he's got
uh-huh.
on, Hitchcock actually designed that tie.
Interesting.
To
Did he
give
do
it
that on
kind of a
purpose to make him stand
threatening.
out a little
It
bit
was
or make
kind
him
of to give him a
quirky?
threatening thing with the big claws, the big pinchers, like he's
Ah,
coming in to pinch you.
that's interesting. See,
Yeah,
he's very
He
he
is,
likes to
yeah,
have visual symbolism and he's very artistic in that sense.
yeah. This guy's conversation skills takes it to like a normal level and just like cranks it up to where you're being overpowered.
Yeah.
yeah,
You literally don't have a chance to tell the guy, no, I don't want to talk to you or anything. He's just like keeps taking it and taking it and taking it to the next level. So you almost can't stop him.
And not only
yeah,
that, but it's like you're right, Blair. He goes in just enough to lower your defenses, and then he just raises the bar of like crazy, but it's at the same
Yeah,
time, it's like you don't know how to escape it
yeah,
because
right.
you've already opened it's like you opened your door and here's this crazy person
yep,
deciding to just like whatever, and you don't know how to politely get him out. It's like,
Yeah. And also the shaking, the grabbing his wrist and shaking his hand is, to kind of break down that barrier too.
hmm
it's very jarring. It's very
Yeah,
it disarms you a lot.
it speaks to his psychosis. He's a charmer. He knows what he wants. He's going to get it. He's not going to take no for an answer.
Yep.
He's set his course, and now it's all go.
Right. Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, the
this
letter.
is significant. This is a I love old movies that like this because they definitely show when it's like a
Yeah.
shot like this, it's like, all right, this is setting up for something else and it's important. And I love the payoffs in the end. So
Yeah. Me too.
they knew how to set up and pay off. That's for sure.
So then he's like, I bet I know who A is. And he's like, I mean, it's like right into his personal,
Yep.
relationships. It's
That's when he
crazy.
dials it up
He
more.
just
Yeah.
shoves himself into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is back in the day when people didn't talk about divorce. You know,
That was
Yeah.
it was a hush hush.
and this guy's like all up in his face about it too. It's like, damn, you know.
Yeah. And that should have been an ending point right there.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy's getting too close into my business. I should say, nice, you know,
As we end the conversation, good day to you, sir. You
but we
know,
wouldn't have a show.
Or that's when you just get up and walk away. Like just don't even try.
I think this guy would have grabbed him, tried to hold him, and like profusely apologize and try to smooth it over.
No, Gourd King.
Welcome,
It's based
the
on.
Gourd
It's not
King.
based. It's not a location. It's a. Think of it as like somebody would leave a special signature in like an old cigarette case back in the day, like like a signature or something or inscription. So it's basically what people used to do back then. They used to give each other gifts like that as a token.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Nos. Don't look.
What?
Nos saying
Oh, Nas.
Nos being
Nah.
Nos. He's being a vampire. But yeah, it's really interesting. Do you notice too? Because a lot of times, I'll notice these things after a movie and being able to see the stills. Do you notice that when they look on the tennis player here, the blinds are not? I mean, I know it's sunlight and I get it, but do you notice that like his face is
Yeah.
clear, and then when it changes, the camera changes direction. Do you notice the jagged lines of the blinds? It's almost
Yeah.
like there's
Yeah.
something shady and creepy about him with it. It's like an
Yeah.
added visual effect.
Now that you pointed out, yes, really does speak to what's going on. This guy is cracking and
Yeah.
is shady and everything.
Shady, and it's like jagged, so that means it's almost, it's something not. It gives you the impression, because look, it's even across his eyes and everything. It just looks very different. I mean, just
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
gives you an
And
idea.
so it's subtle, just a subtle
Yeah,
shadow
I
over
didn't
his
pick up
face.
on it until you mentioned it. And now
Mhm.
it totally makes sense.
Yeah. It's funny. I noticed these things after the fact because I mean, you're watching the movie, you're trying to be like, all right, wanting to hear the conversation. You're more focused on the conversation and the facial expressions and such, not necessarily everything else that's going on.
And look how close they're sitting. That's definitely your inner space is being invaded there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's almost like he keeps scooting closer and he's
Mhm.
pushing his boundaries here. It's just ugh. Even when I
Yeah.
was like in the beginning, I'm like, I already don't like this dude. Like you're like you're if a guy approached me like this on a train, I'd be like, I would walk away very easily.
Dude, come on, dude. Yeah.
So
Seriously.
then he asked the steward how long till Midcalf, or what was the name of the town? Something like that.
Metcalf. I think it was
Metcalf. Yeah.
Metcalf. Yeah,
Mhm.
Metcalf. Yeah.
And this guy's like, well, why would you want to go to Midcalf? He's like, oh,
Take care of business or something like that. Like, oh no, it was his
well, to meet your
hometown.
wife. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah. So another
Yeah.
step, closer to.
Uh-huh. Go to another conversation ender.
Yeah. And maybe he was wanting someone to confide in about it, maybe he was just, I don't know, maybe
Yeah, he had a
just
lot to
guessing.
get off his chest. So I think he kind of like ingratiated himself. And he's plying him with the booze too, because first the guy didn't want to drink. Now he's having a double scotch.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a lot.
So then he invites him into a private room, which it should have been a nope, no
It
thanks.
should have been a red flag, yes. Immediately.
And how old do you think this guy is here? 30s?
The guy on the left, the
This
tennis player guy.
this guy, no, the lobster tie guy.
Might have been
Bruno.
40s.
How many 40-year-olds
Bruno.
do you know that
Bruno.
complain about their dad? Like a
I don't
teenager.
know. I don't, Blair. I don't know about that today, but
No.
but
Yeah, this character's name is Bruno.
I mean, I couldn't, with watching so many older films and such, I can probably understand complaints because, when you talk to like family members or not my family, like
Roman.
you just hear, hey Roman, you just hear stories of like, yeah, so and so was just really, really strict or really, really hard on me or something like that. But complaining in this manner and then going into the conversation he goes into about like speculating murders, I'm like, what the freak? Nobody talks like
Whoa.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, I hate my father. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like, normal people may not like how their parents treated them when they were growing up, or how they're being treated even as adults. But you don't go out there and say you hate your parents. Like that's just,
especially after a certain age.
Yeah.
Then it's just like,
I mean,
he's
yeah. Walk away.
Yeah.
He's rich too. He's a rich guy.
Yeah.
So he's grown up, not having to do anything.
Hey, that sounds like a lot of adults these days. Doesn't matter what age.
Yeah.
This guy was a millennial before they were even invented.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
I don't call myself a millennial, so it doesn't bother me.
I don't put labels on people or me or anybody else. We're all general people. It's just whatever. Roman, I talk like that, Max. You talk like you hate your parents? What? I'm confused, Roman.
What?
I don't know what he's referring to. Roman, you need to speak normal speak. Stop talking Californian.
He's been there too long.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Mags is a boomer in a millennial body. This is actually true. I was raised by boomers. So let's just put it that way. Get off my lawn.
That's what happens.
What about a hello, my name is Label Mags? Raised by wolves. Well, you are Roman of the Empire. Were you a Romulus? Was it based on?
Were you Romulus?
Yeah, Romulus and Remus. Wolves. There you go.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyway, go ahead. We're just going along. Yes.
Like, do you want to hear one of my ideas? And he's like,
so creepy. Like, ooh.
Like,
it's another red flag.
Yeah.
People don't generally talk about how they're going to murder people to strangers.
And that's the thing. That's the thing too. I'm like, was this? Because even in like the social gathering later down the road, it was more like, even like some of the ladies were just kind of like laughing and speculating too on supposed murders, and I'm just like, was this something that people did back in the day or something because they were bored?
Yeah, it's kind of an odd conversation to have at a dinner party with
that would
people
make
you
me
don't know
really uncomfortable.
If people you know, then yeah, you're already divvying up. Okay, who's on the body bag detail? Who's got the shovel? Where are we going to dig the hole? That kind of thing. But
and two, if you've seen the movie Rope, it has that same. They're like could we get away with it?
Mm.
The two people in it that. And of course, Hitchcock.
Yeah, he liked his murder stuff.
And he's like fantasizing about his dreams of killing his father.
I know. I'm like, what in the world?
It's like
I
his
mean,
father gave him a ultimatum. You either get a job, get to work, or you're out. That I could see that.
and I mean, that's what a lot of guys did back in the day. They started at the bottom and they worked their way up top. I mean, it was just kind of normal. But
He's
this guy
rich.
doesn't want to work at all. So
we talked about the tie, Roman.
yeah, you need to rewind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hitchcock designed it.
Yeah.
Roman.
You know what? Now that you think about it, we made the pincer or being pinched. It could be that he's talking about claws, like grasping something, or visually, like he's in his grasp now. I mean, that's just kind of how it's an interesting visual he put there, huh?
Yeah, it is.
That's neat.
Yeah, he's definitely a dangerous animal.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, I got to go catch another train.
Yeah.
I think at this point he's just like, look, this is really awkward and weird. Like,
yep.
Especially with this plan. I mean,
and he's like, what did you think of my plan? He's like, oh, it's great, Bruno. It's great. It's like,
he says all of your plans are great. Like, he kind of,
it's like, are you crazy?
He's kind of like, I'm trying to get the hell out of Dodge.
Right. Sure, buddy. Yeah. I gotta go. Anywhere but here.
And he forgets his lighter.
Dun dun dun. He's all sitting all happy with himself.
So this is the station. And look.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Yep.
Again, the base. That's whole Hitch.
Yep, there's good old Hitchcock.
Yep. So he's stopping off in his hometown and going to meet his wife.
Yeah, because they planned. Yeah, they planned to see the lawyer that day and finalize their divorce.
Yeah. It's interesting because, I hated her like in this entire scene from the get-go, from her attitude. And just, oh my God, excuse me for saying this, Jacob, but what a bee. Like, just wanted to whack her. It's like,
yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this, people, is this nothing new, y'all? This is, there were bad people, both, men and women, who acted like complete and utter assholes. And she is one. And it's like, oh my gosh. I like the fact, though, that they kind of toned down, like she wasn't necessarily pretty, like she was okay looking, but she's not the greatest thing ever. And I'm just like, girl, you don't have much going on. What do you think you have all this power? It's like, but she does. So,
by the way, what did y'all think of this record store?
It was cool. I liked it.
I know. I mean, they used to have record stores with booths. You could go in and listen to records.
Yeah.
I never saw one, but I always heard about them. Yeah, those glasses, that actress had perfect eyesight. The Hitchcock wanted those thick Coke bottle glasses on her, and she was blind when she was wearing them.
No.
She was blind while wearing them?
Yeah, she couldn't see for nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Watch when she walks, she puts her hand down and like guides herself in some scenes.
So, oh my gosh, but that's great acting, that, because I mean I didn't even notice that. Oh, I see her looking down.
At her hand is touching the.
Yep, she's kind of like guiding herself.
That's crazy.
Hitchcock was grade A. I won't say it, but
he was an asshole.
He was not a nice human being.
Mm-mm.
He would do all kinds of tricks on people, or
do
things specifically to people. that
Go ahead.
really didn't have any reason other than he wanted it done.
Mm.
Yeah, he goes in a little booth and
Yeah.
he finds out she's decided she's pregnant with somebody else's kid.
I know when she
Yeah.
drops that, I was like, all right, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
this girl is. I mean, if she has
I
an
mean, that was
attitude because of
another,
something else,
and
but go ahead.
that was another thing you didn't talk about back then either. That was a no
That's a
thing to talk
no.
about.
And
Yeah.
she had the audacity to try to use that as lording over him and like it was just like I felt like they did such a good job with the dialogue and everything in the scene and her attitude and everything else in his acting that like I felt like I wanted to strangle her myself.
Yeah.
So
So she
I
asks for
get
the
it.
money for the lawyer.
Yeah.
He gives
Yeah.
it to her, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, there's not a lawyer anymore." Then pockets the money and talks about how she's going to buy something nice with the cash.
Yeah.
And now she's warming her way in, person saying, "Okay, you're going to take me to Washington now,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't, how's it going to look when they find out you abandoned your wife and
Pregnant
unborn
wife.
child, and
Yeah.
even though the kid isn't
I love
his."
how this scene, as it intensifies, this guy starts watching.
Yep.
Yeah, they get the attention of everybody real soon. Yeah,
And
she's a piece of work.
she's also putting on, as he first meets her there, she puts on this sweet little smile, and then the mask comes off.
Oh my god, it's so well done too cuz it's like yeah. And then she kind of portrays herself as being like she's like putting her arm over
Uh-huh.
her arm like as if she's afraid for herself and but
Yeah.
then she yells out here, I'm going to have this baby in Washington. Like it's just so weird to say these things out in public. But I guess she's
Yeah.
trying to make it seem like he's I don't know. I wanted to like
Yeah,
and
the optics are not good.
what a stark contrast between the two characters too, between her and this one. And she looks completely obviously different, but she doesn't look homely, she doesn't look plain. She obviously looks well put together and very I mean, we already kind of figure out who she is, but she like it's like a visual like contrast between the two.
No glasses.
Yep.
She speaks well. She's
Exactly.
better
She's
stand.
very she's not very
Yeah.
she's very feminine, she's very,
Take it on.
sweet. Hey, Cannoli.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Hitchcock didn't want this actress. This actress was forced on him.
Uh-huh.
And he always has to have somebody on
Well,
set he goes after, like fights with, and it was her.
Yeah, the studio system was still running back then.
Yeah.
So you signed with a studio and you're a contract player, and then they'd loan you out to the pitchers. And he had to take this actress for whatever reason. And he took
So
it
it's
out
like,
on her.
it's funny
as a
too because
train's coming,
oh, go ahead.
as the train, there's a train coming past, and he's like, I would like to wring her little neck.
And I love how the train sound too intensifies every time he has to repeat it because it's like it kind of it intensifies even for the audience as well. And it's funny, Hitchcock always had an affinity towards blondes. So I'm wondering who would have been the replacement or the person he was wanting on the sets.
That's what I was wanting to know.
Yeah.
Probably a blonde. So here he is wearing his little PJs and his kimono.
Yeah. And
a smoking jacket robe thing.
Getting his nails done by his mom.
Oh gosh, when I saw this, I'm like, come on, bro.
They worked in subtle hints that he's gay in the movie.
Yeah.
To get past the censors. I think that maybe those shoes I don't know. Maybe that was like maybe a
I don't
gay
think
thing, but
I don't think necessarily
Well,
because a lot of some that was some of those shoes were popular at one point in Hollywood and not just in Hollywood but in fashion and like the major
yeah,
cities. So I don't think so.
but
But
it seems like in movies they always give the kind of smarmy guy those shoes.
yes.
yeah.
But you're right, Blair. I didn't even realize that they subtly tried to work things in to get past the censors of this stuff. But it's really odd for somebody who is an adult getting his mom to do his nails for like, and it's very clearly very narcissistic and
hmm
just kind of manipulative in that regard. And she's just so um demure, like she doesn't not demure, what's the right term, she doesn't she doesn't have any,
He's like a
not
tough
she's not,
love. He's like a mama's boy, and
yeah, he's,
she's
yeah, and then he also utilizes her
Yeah, she dotes on him too a
submissiveness
lot.
too.
hmm
It's really sick in a way because
yeah.
he plays on that as well.
He's like a
So
child. He never grew up.
yeah. Like,
Yeah,
oh my, and then it plays into her because as women, it's easy to easily manipulate us because of our emotions. So he plays into that a little bit more. So it's kind of, yeah.
she says to him that he should go shave before. It's like he snaps at her.
Oh gosh, he obviously hates his dad. Ugh.
Oh yeah. She shows him his art, and he laughs. And at first, you think it's like a really bad
Yeah,
pain or something. That turns out no. It's like
she
kind of
wouldn't even he
it's like a painting
he
of
wouldn't
his
even
dad.
yeah, but it wasn't. But he thinks it is, and his cackle is great. He could have played the Joker.
yeah. He
Mhm.
said that she got his essence perfectly, and she's like, I was trying to paint Saint Bernard or
Oh
Yeah,
Saint
no,
Francis.
St. Francis, yeah, St. Francis, and I'm just like, I don't know if St. Francis looks a little different, but yeah. I think that's the point. It's like the not just that too, but visually for us as the audience, it looks distorted, but it gives us an idea that she's distorted somehow,
that's it.
as well as he is, because we're seeing different things. So
yeah, the whole family dynamic is skewed.
yep. And the
Yeah,
only solid figure in the house, it seems,
uh,
is the his father.
Yeah.
yeah,
And is he really that stern and overbearing, or is he kind of like, look, you're like 40, get out, you know?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I
Well,
love how
here,
you can hear the conversation on the phone, but you get little snippets of the argument his parents are having.
yeah, that they it's almost like they were trying to think of like getting him some help or whatever or something. Because I mean, he clearly is little kooky,
hmm
um, and needs a little help. So, and of course, his mom is like saying, "No, we don't need to do that," and it's like. He kind of does, sweetheart. I'm sorry. Like he needs some help or needs somebody to help him or at least, get him out of it
Yeah,
because clearly he's got some issues. I mean, it's not just,
I mean it's the kind of thing
it's like
you
multiple
you
layers of
as
issues.
the stuff
And
out on the porch and change the locks.
this is his first instance where he reaches out to this guy after the train.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
guy's probably already forgotten this guy, and all of a sudden now he's getting like the long distance phone calls, which is a big deal back then
Yes. That's a lot of money.
from from a guy you only met once, and all of a sudden he's like, "So, are we still on for the plan? I'm not killing your dad." you know.
Well, it's almost like to that point you go, wait, who? What? And then this part when he's looking him
oh
up,
yeah, yeah,
this is creepy as
Yep.
this is
yeah,
creepy.
He's on full on stalker mode.
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously, like Jacob or you Blair mentioned, like he is full on, like he's like a hound dog. He will not stop getting what he wants and accomplishing it, and obviously he does. And I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's like he can't help himself. He's it's part of his illness is that once his plans in motion, he's going to go and go and go and see it through.
Yep. And at first, first year you think, oh, he's gonna go meet him, but then Miriam comes out, his the wife, and it's like, what is going on? This is creepy. It even got for me at this point. I'm like, I am creeped out on another level. Like this is just weird.
Yeah. I mean, you see what kind of girl she is. I mean, she's leading two men along.
Yep.
Yeah, she's pregnant, married. Yeah, she's running around with these two guys. And then he's just on the bus. And now he's going across and going into the fairground. And he's like a wolf that's found his prey.
Yep. And he's
Yeah.
very persistent, and it's creepy. Like even though we don't like this chick, like I felt
Mm-hmm.
like because it almost was putting us, the audience, in her shoes and how she was feeling and looking at him and looking over her shoulder every time he appear out of nowhere. It is creepy. It's like, oh my god, this is
Yeah. And she misconstrues it like, oh, another man I can string along.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
No, who knew? Yeah, here's where she first sees him.
Mm-hmm.
Or doesn't see him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and these guys actually had to help guide her around the fairground.
Yeah.
She was like blind. And that makes no sense. Okay, you're that far away, you can't tell if she has Coke bottle glasses or not. She could have just like regular flat glasses or, fake glasses and it'd be
Yeah.
fine. But no, he insisted that she wear those glasses.
I like this part. This kid comes up to
He,
him. Stick him up.
This kid was cute though. I liked him.
He pops his balloon.
And he has yeah.
he's a sassy little guy too.
I know.
Take that, you little.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that this whole entire theme park thing, amusement park is just, it's creepy because you hate her, but it's like you almost feel like, oh, please get away. But at the same time, I'm like, you're also giving these weird, like, seductive
Mm-hmm.
glances too, and I'm like, girl, stop it. It's like,
Yeah.
please. This guy is
Yeah.
not good news. I mean, look at this. She's
She
looking in
looks
this
back to
direction,
see if he's, yeah.
and he's right there. It's like, that is so creepy. Ugh, ugh. But she thinks it's
Yeah.
because he's got a thing for her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Sorry, ladies, but when dudes do this to you, no.
I know.
No.
And our two friends couldn't get to the top, and he does. I find it interesting.
See, this is another thing too, if you think about it. You know how he was able to lure Guy Haynes. I always forget his last name, but he lured Guy into his trap. So he entrapped him, like, jarring, alarming, whatever. He's doing this here. He's trapping her.
Yeah.
So, and that's what he's doing with this. But she thinks she's easy because she thinks this is a game for her, like what's been going on. But it's
Yeah.
nope.
And he's playing into that to.
Mm-hmm. They just playing along.
Yep.
Singing along and
Yep.
So yeah, this whole park was designed by Hitchcock too, except for the love tunnel thing.
Yeah, he built the Ferris wheel. He actually, so his Hitchcock's daughter is in this movie,
Yeah,
and he knew she was scared of heights, so he said he'd give her $100 if she got on the Ferris wheel. So she did. He got to the very top. He ordered it, stopped, and then had the lights turned off. So she's sitting up there on top of this big giant
yeah,
Ferris wheel in the dark, that scared of heights, and then he lets her down, and then he never gives her the money. He just did it just to be mean.
Oh my god! Now, see, I'm afraid of heights, and if my dad did something like that, he would not hear the end of it. I would have been gone. I would have been leaving. Nope,
yeah.
I wouldn't come back. Like, no, sorry.
She even said the statistic for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yeah,
no, he's not, Zax. That's mean. There's a difference between trying to face your fears versus being an actual jerk about it. Like,
Yeah,
that's being an actual jerk about it. That's not being a good dad. Sorry.
This is kind of interesting. These are like real boats. These people piloted.
yeah.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Because after this, they actually go up to the island. And now today it would be like on a chain or something, so you wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to love
Safety
1951
regulations,
safety regulations. There were none.
Nope.
I'm surprised how quiet the boats were too. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
This was before safety labels.
Oh yeah, this is before seatbelts and
Yeah.
caution labels on your beverage and.
Well,
And this
caution,
too.
caution. Hey, coffee is hot. Caution,
Yeah.
it's hot.
Yes.
I think it was just generally understood back then. That's when you start.
Common sense is not taught in schools anymore in the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Just
Once
saying.
you
It's not being taught in the home either.
It's just showing shadows.
Oh yeah.
On the wall,
like,
and it's like he's closing into.
Oh yeah, this is creepy. When I saw this visual, I was like, oh my god.
I thought something was gonna happen there.
That's what I thought. And then when she screamed, I thought something was gonna happen. But then
I thought he was killing her.
Oh, excuse me.
Yep, they just pull up on shore, and this is like the Lover's Island.
Yeah. Hitchcock films always look like Hitchcock films. This reminds me of Saboteur.
Yeah, he had a distinctive.
He actually filmed his shots, so in the cutting room it would have to be done the way he wanted it to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like his films each time, which is kind of cool.
It's like total control.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I bet he didn't handle notes very well. If anybody even bothered trying to give it to him.
Oh, this part, I'm just like, oh.
He uses the guy's lighter to, make sure it's the right person.
And at first, from this angle, it looks like, yeah. But
what were you gonna say, Max?
Oh, it just looked like he was about ready to kiss her to like really disarm her, and then and then he just goes in for the kill. Like, wow.
And the reflection in the glasses on the ground is great.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective.
I bet she was glad to be rid of those glasses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, get rid of those glasses while you're being acted strangled. So.
And then
yeah, so he actually does drop the lighter.
Yeah, you think he's going to leave it at first. But then he grabs it at the last minute. That becomes like a big thing.
Because I was like, oh no, he's going to get pinned down for this, and he's not, It's an interesting subversion. Because I mean, you talk about, subverting expectations. That subverted my expectations, but it wasn't in a bad way. Like it made sense because later down the road you start hearing him talk about, well, we made a plan, and it's like, okay, gotcha, that makes sense. I mean, they knew how to do subversions back then.
Yeah. So the guys that were with her find her and she's dead and they start hollering for help.
And he just walks out, like walks away
Takes a
completely.
little nice boat ride, and
Yeah, but this guy is the
yeah, he clocks him and thinks there's something odd about the guy.
yeah. It's like, what? That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is weird. He stops and helps this blind guy across the street.
You know, right?
I think
You know,
it's a just another added point that maybe Hitchcock, and I'm just assuming here, but it could be that he's also adding more like the fact that this character is so jarring. Like he just is. Like he goes
Yeah,
from being in kind of normal to like killing somebody 5 minutes ago. Like
yeah, then going to help a blind guy across the street. It's just
yeah.
like he is really cold blooded,
yeah,
manipulative.
and definitely like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
You know that they act normal. You know, they give this persona of being a normal person, but they
definitely are not. Oh yeah, now he's on another train going home, and meets that drunk professor.
And I was so upset when he came into the police station and goes, "I don't remember you," and I'm just like, I'm like, I could feel I was frustrated because I was like, he wasn't there. Why is he being accused of this? He didn't even encourage it. Like that's the thing. But see, nobody would be able to vouch for something like that.
Yeah, he even brings this up later. So, what would the police have said if I had said this?
Yeah.
You know, it was guilty as hell.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah. Well, that raccoon's messing with my connection here.
Oh, they took care of that thing. So now Bruno
There's
is calling
always
him over.
more raccoon. Yeah.
Psst, hey, come here.
I mean, and the way he's like, guy. I mean, and it didn't sound like he was there. It almost sounded imagined in the way that they
Yeah.
kind of did the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, when he didn't show himself immediately, I'm just like, oh, please don't be there. Please don't be there. And then he shows himself. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
He brings him a trophy to show that his
Hands him
deed
the
has been
glasses.
done. He's like, yeah, I killed her. Now you kill my dad.
yep.
And this guy's like, what?
He doesn't believe him at first, too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, "You're crazy. You get away from me." And then his phone starts ringing, and then
And the cop car shows up. Yeah, then you know.
Then he's like, and he's like, "Why? They'll think you did it."
This guy's in a nightmare because all of a sudden this crazy person who was talking crazy on a train now actually goes and does it.
Right.
And he's screwed totally, and he knows it. Which is why he doesn't go to the police right now or tell anybody about, okay, this sounds crazy, but I met this guy on a train and he wanted to swap murders and you know.
It's so far fetched. That's the thing. It's so out of the ordinary that who would believe you if if this actually happened to you? I mean, even today, I would say even today, people would be like, are you crazy? Like are you insane? Like that would
Yeah.
be how people would react.
Mm-hmm.
because it is so far-fetched. And I think that's the thing is with somebody like Bruno, he is a narcissist and he knows how to wheedle his way in into situations like this because he knows how to trap you. It's entrapment, and
Yeah.
it's a form of blackmail without even trying. Like
Yep.
it's just so, and he did it so easily and quick. Like it's amazing. Not in a good way, but yeah.
Yeah, he's totally got this guy.
Yeah.
And what a contrast again between her and Miriam. Miriam is very ugly in terms of personality and just completely a bee, and she is like every form of femininity, like just kind of
Yeah.
very very strong, loves him, loves Guy, and just immediately supports him
Yeah, he
through it all.
definitely
Yeah.
upgraded.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely upgraded.
So
That's Hitchcock's daughter. Yep.
there's Hitchcock's daughter.
So the guy on the left, he was in North by Northwest. He was this CIA or FBI like
Yeah.
head guy or something like that, or at least in the field. So
Yeah.
And his daughter had like a little bit parts. Apparently, he didn't believe in nepotism, so he would never help his daughter. So the best she could get would be a friend or a sister or a maid or something in one of his movies. She never got a lead or a main part or.
Yeah.
But she's all
I mean
about
And
like.
she thinks he did it at
Yep.
first.
Yep.
She remembers the conversation. Hey, Copa. She remembers the conversation about him
Strangling.
wanting to strangle his wife. And her sister's like really like a murder fanatic.
You know, it could be. It could be. Was it just back in the day where? Because I mean, she almost reminded me of like a like a like an Agatha Christie. Like some people were just into like suspense and murder mysteries and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Maybe that had something to do with it. Like she almost reminded me like she could have been like an Agatha Christie nerd. Like just was really into that sort of stuff, or like a
yeah,
Sherlock
yeah.
Holmes type. So I
Although
mean, nothing wrong with that, but it's just it. You know, it just that's because she was almost immediately going off of like she had seen like Perry Mason or
yeah.
something like that. It's
Today she'd be watching Netflix true crime shows and
Yeah.
yeah.
I
court
love
TV and stuff.
how she starts making everybody a drink.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's laying it out to him how he's going to be questioned, and of course they think you did it.
Well, I mean, and she's not wrong. I mean,
Bruno's, switching our murders doesn't work. They immediately hone in on the husband,
yeah.
the police.
Yeah, that would be the first person to question, regardless of whether the woman kills the husband or the husband kills the woman. It's going to be, it's going to be your first major suspect,
And
regardless.
two, there's evidence there too, the
Mhm.
record store incident, and then him telling this girl that he'd like to strangle her.
And not only that, but I mean, clearly seeing another woman. So I mean,
he's got every reason to get rid of the old one.
yep, pregnant. She's pregnant with somebody else's
Yeah.
child, and yeah.
She'll give him that divorce, and
Yep.
another question about, well, somebody, where were you? And he tells him, and he's like, well, did anybody see you? He says, well, yes, there's just one guy. So he's making plans to talk to the police the next day and try and get his alibi laid out. And
Well, at least trying to figure everything out, because It's probably jarring to him too. This could have shaped up to be a great collaboration between Raymond Chandler,
Yep.
yep, and Hitchcock. The Philip Marlowe books. It's too bad they could not get along and solve the
Apparently they
differences.
hated each other.
Yeah, apparently, because I read that trivia on because I watched it through Amazon. And Amazon. What's really cool is that like Amazon does like the trivia stuff on the
Mhm.
side, which is really nice. I read that part and I was just like, wow. he called him a fat or look at that fat person or something.
Oh,
I'm like,
look at
oh
the
my,
fat bleep trying to get out of the car.
I know.
Yeah, that would have been great if he could have had Dashiell Hammett, or done more of these with these writers and kept
Yeah.
them. But Hitchcock was Hitchcock, and then
Yeah.
these writers were their own ways too. They were not peaches
Hitchcock.
either.
Hitchcock was like had to dominate everything, in his movies.
Yeah, totally, to the point of almost smothering them.
Yep. Well, even when I was reading the trivia thing, it's like Hitchcock's meetings would just be all over the place for several hours without even talking about the movie. And the writer was just like, I need to get back to writing. Like I have work to do. Like
You got 15 minutes, go. I gotta get
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I feel like I mentioned that some of these writers were not peaches either. They were alcoholics and they had their own quirks too.
Oh yeah. I mean everybody, there was always something with somebody back then.
Sometimes, people are so weird, but yeah, they either gel or they find a way to have a really great working relationship, even though they like totally hate each other.
Yep.
What was that writing duo? Gershwin and
Gershwin and
I forget the other person's name. They had all these great musical scores, but they lived on opposite sides of the country and they absolutely hated each other. They would like write a piece of music and like teletype it across country, and then the other person would get it and write their bit and teletype it. It's like they couldn't even be in the same room, but yet they found a way to work and create this great art.
It's funny like because was it John, like even duos like a director duos or whatever with like they have their favorite actors and actresses too. So it's stuff like that, like you work through Hollywood, like a lot of these people they did more than just like a film every 3 years. They did like 4 or 5 films in 1 year.
Oh yeah, they cranked out.
So of course, at some point, like all the working relationships, if you are gelled together a lot, and especially if you're on the same type of set or not the same set, but like working on a movie set together, and it's just like boom, it's magic, and you don't have time for foolishness on this. Oh,
He's
boy.
like, oh, this will clear the whole thing up.
Yep.
It's like, oh,
I'm
sorry, I don't remember you. I've never seen you before.
Yeah, you go from a high like this as an audience to like, oh crap. Like
yeah, and he makes the same argument with everybody else. Well, how would I not be on the train if I didn't know this guy was on the train too and knew all about him?
yeah, and that's a good that was a good answer that he gave them, or a good question to ask that he gave them, because I'm like, that's a truth. All this, like he went to what Delaware Tech, I forget what it was.
Yeah, Delaware Tech.
Delaware Tech. And it's like, how do I know about this professor when I'm clearly not from, like, this is such a random professor. Like, why would I pick somebody like this out?
Right.
Yeah.
And if he was coming back from New York, I was on the New York train. How, like, I don't know, like, yeah. But still, it's still not enough because it's not real evidence. If he's, whatever. So I feel you, Blair. I was thinking that too. I was like, wait a minute. How does he know about this guy? But
I think they claimed that he could have gotten on the train at a different time than met him after he killed his wife or something. So the time frame wasn't solid enough to exonerate him. But
yeah, I understand that, but yeah.
I have to say, that must be some really strong coffee to be in a
cup. Yeah. Old school espresso.
Some Cuban coffee or something.
Yep. That's before Cuba was closed up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah,
This is well before Cuba closed up.
you still get a good cigar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
this too. He's got
Boom.
a guardian angel.
Yeah, the cops are watching him.
Hennessy. That was his name.
The, the daughter has a lot of good quibs to her father right here. He's like, "Oh, I'll have that removed immediately." It's like, "Oh, using your political power, are you?"
Oh yeah, when she said that, I was just like, damn,
Yeah.
this is a really cool commentary right here in terms of just what just a little bit of commentary of like what people
Yeah.
saw politicians even back then. So,
Yeah.
She was smart as a whip too.
oh yeah, it kind of makes sense because if you're gonna be, I mean, today probably not so much, but if you're gonna be a daughter, especially a daughter of a politician, it's just like it was back in the Middle Ages, where or whatever you're a daughter of a king or whatever, or high
Hmm.
society, some sort of fashion. You're gonna have to have some ability, some wit about you, or at least some sense of intelligence, because you're going to be
Yeah.
mingling with people who are high society.
Hmm.
So,
I like what he says here too. That will he be following you to the office? It's like maybe you should
You should work
self
from
to
here for a few days. Yeah.
work from the house here.
yeah.
And he was like more worried
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of a
Hey,
thing.
Sherry.
Hey, Wookie,
Hey Wookie, hey Sherry.
that was on this guy's mind, and also Bruno's is like, this is United States Senator. He's in a real pickle here because if he messes up, all of a sudden he's gonna throw some shade on this guy and cause all kinds of problems. So he's got like another added layer of pressure on them to make sure he follows through with his plan to. And then now here he is calling him again.
He's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it was wrong. It wasn't for me.
I love that. Because it was her, Barbara, the one with the glasses. I love how she's always observing him too. She's
Mm-hmm.
got
Yeah.
she's got this look of like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Really?
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 Really,
What?
yeah.
I like
Really?
how they brought the phone in and then plugged it in
Yeah.
because they didn't have phones in every room back in the day.
Nope. Nope.
I
Oh,
love how the
this was creepy. Oh
yeah.
my god. I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god." Like,
I love how the detective is like making friends with him, chubbing with him.
Yeah.
very laid
Yeah.
back. But it definitely establishes his character. Like you don't really know too much about him, but already you know who he is and what he's about. And then you see this. And
That's
this is
such a
amazing
great
how
shot.
Yeah, it's like, oh
it's
my
such a
god.
great it's not just like the distance shot, but the fact that you have some sort of like Washington monument in the background here, like of this elegance and glory, and then here's this little speck here
The
Yeah.
in the
black.
distance, and he's a dark looking character right now, and it's like that is creepy. Like that is just woo, that again, the word for this movie for me was creepy. Like that was the word.
And there's no mistaking who that is. The boy he stands, you know,
Yep.
the way he's got his hand out with a cigarette, and the way he presents himself, it's just like, yeah,
I'm gonna intrude in your life no matter what kind of distance it is. Yeah, that's kind of how I took it.
what's up, police? Every breath you take, every walk you make, I'll be watching you.
I'll be watching you.
Let's take a cab.
Yeah, it's Shield Wall. It's very true. That shot is very noir. It definitely had there was definitely some noir vibes in this movie. Like definitely could feel that.
Yeah.
Very you could still you could see the 40s still there and the transition period into the 50s, like some shots. So, yeah. And I'm kind of glad that I don't know if Technicolor was around. I'm glad they kept it black and white because I think
yeah.
the black and white really makes it makes you focus more on
It would have ruined
everything.
it if it were in color.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have to direct movies in color so much differently than
Oh
black
yeah.
and white. It's just that was just the nature of it.
Yeah.
And then this, he leaves a note. Like that is
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Hand delivered it. And now this guy's like, oh great, now I got more evidence I gotta get rid of because if they find this,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Let's get together and make plans. Father would be going.
Oh, he's back.
Oh,
Hey, this guy's like a raccoon. He just keeps coming back.
yep.
Yep.
And then this, like they obviously went to some sort of social event or whatever, and the
Mhm.
guy just intrudes on his life again. It's just ugh.
Yep. He literally can't go anywhere now. This guy is like on him.
He's like, we had a deal. You were supposed to.
It's like I don't remember saying yes to this deal.
Right.
Like I don't even remember even agreeing to it regardless, like okaying it. Oh yeah, the tie clip.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get my note? Did you get my call? I feel that you're dodging me. And every time he tries to like just, blow him off, and it just doesn't work.
It just
you know?
it almost seems like it gets more escalated, these meetings.
Yes, they do. They get weirder and weirder and more intrusive and
Yeah, because now she is like, who is that? Like, this is a weird character. And she looked at the name of the tie clip. I mean, clearly, I don't think back then people had engraved or signage like that of tie clips. It was just a normal tie clip. So it's just
yeah.
very odd to do something like that.
Yeah, he's very narcissistic and very
Yeah. Well, his mom got that made for him, but at the same time, I'm like, it's still weird. Like, why would
yeah, right?
it's still weird? Like,
I
I
wouldn't
don't
have
know.
a tie with the name Blair written in it. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cufflinks, you might see like your last name, first letter.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna use my name, but like Mags, so you have M
Yeah.
on it or
It's
something
like
like that. But nah, you wouldn't have
anime.
Bruno. Like
Anime.
yeah.
Anime characters with their name on their shirt.
Yep.
Right.
And he sends him a map. He sends him a map of the house. It's like, what?
With a key, no less.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Like, dude, stop sending me this stuff.
I mean, even that, couldn't he go to the police with that? I mean, you'd think.
Yeah, that would be a lot more substantial.
It would be a
Look,
lot more substantial, but still it wouldn't if he's not leaving his name or his full name or because I mean what that first letter he sent he just signed it as B.
B, yeah.
So that could be anybody. Just because his name is Bruno doesn't necessarily mean he did it. This scene,
This,
oh my
yes.
Yeah,
god.
this is great.
This is the gift that was on the.
And the chat, the
Yeah.
group, yeah. And his head is he's just this is creepy.
Yeah.
Yep. This is all kinds of Ron.
Yes.
He really stands out. All the people going
Yeah, he
back
does.
and forth. He's just like dead staring him.
Mm-hmm. You really do feel bad for Guy the entire time. It's like, he didn't ask for this at all. Like, it
No,
just,
it's
Yeah,
some crazy
it's just
guy on a
like
train.
he had no power over the situation, and it's just happening. And he's in it. Oh, yeah,
some,
here he is again. you know.
and apparently
Yeah,
he knows these ladies, and I'm just like, how does he know these ladies? But then again, we know he's rich, so he's wealthy. So
yeah,
I don't know. This is just weird. Like, how does he know these ladies?
Yeah, they're like friends of the family. Because yeah,
Yeah.
he is rich. He does move in those circles, so he would know these people. And she
And I love
clocks
how
him again.
so
she's
she
picking up
sees.
like this is really weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's a charmer, you know.
Mhm. He's speaking in French and everything else.
hmm Now this scene here where she meets him and they look at each other, I got the vibe that she was like she knew he's a killer and she's totally into it. She's like one of those types.
Well, I like how he starts to kind of get a little psyched out. Look at the face change.
hmm
yeah,
That's why I thought maybe they had like something. Then you see the reflection in the glasses,
yeah.
and then he's like reliving the moment.
And then guy gets the package. It's like,
Yeah, you can't do that these days. Not like that.
No.
send that through the mail.
No.
Send a Luger through the mail. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Hey, look, there could have been Lugers being sent all the way around because guys were
Oh
just
yeah,
coming back from the war.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they did. It was not a thing back then.
Mm-mm.
Today they
reminds
put
me
up
of
a
that.
building and
Reminds me of that guy in Band of Brothers who's trying to find a Luger.
Oh, that malarkey?
Yeah,
Yeah. I just watched that show again with my dad, so love
yeah,
that
it's a good
show.
one.
It's a very good show. But I need space in between watching it because it's a really good show, but it's like it's emotionally
Yeah, it
it
is.
emotionally taxes me out. Like it just
Yeah,
it's hard to explain.
yeah.
hmm,
My
gotta
grandpa was
process it.
101st, so
Oh, really?
yeah, he went through all that.
Oh,
Oh wow.
see, that's why my mom can't watch was it the Pacific, which was the equivalent to Band of Brothers,
hmm
Yeah.
because my grandfather, Marine, fought in the Philippines in the
Mm,
Pacific.
wow.
So she can't it's a little too close to home, so she can't do that. Anyway, so I understand.
Have to talk about that show sometime.
Band of Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah. I'm sure Zax would be on board. He loves Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
I'm calling you out, Zax. Come on.
I
He's
love this
talking
too.
about going. Oh yeah.
The police officer's like, oh man, I have to have a sleeping bag with me so I don't get sore from the cold.
Is this Hennessy still? I think it is Hennessy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
hmm He's getting ready to go to a fancy dress party.
Oh, it looks like Roman it says he's in on that discussion. So
Oh yeah.
I never saw the Pacific uh, series.
I liked it. It didn't get as much fanfare as the first one,
Yeah.
yeah.
but
I think Gord King says the Pacific is good, but they diverted too much away from the actual war stuff. It was like HBO wanted to fill in nudity quotas. So
no.
oops. Mm. That's sad.
Yeah.
But
It is.
It's what happens when they do these things. They have a hit show like the Band of Brothers, and then they try to do like a sequel to it, which is the Pacific, and
Yeah.
then the sequel's never good because they have to inject it with other things. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, the first thing was good because it was actually, really, really good. It didn't
Yeah.
need any of this other stuff to add to it. I mean, whatever. Anyway, go ahead. I hate it when I hate it.
Yeah, me too.
This
me
stuff
too.
this stuff didn't start happening in like 2016. This stuff was happening anyway,
Oh,
like
yeah.
way back in the day. So
They always found a way to ruin it.
yep, it's not
This
new, y'all. It's not new.
what he says to the father here is like, I have been studying the power of the
yeah.
human spirit.
Yeah, he's
Be more
just like
powerful
so
than
off.
nuclear power. It's like, what?
Yeah.
This,
Talking.
this guy was just like, if I were the senator, I would have been like, he needs to leave.
Yeah, right. Really.
And then I love the fact that he says, "Who? I never invited this guy." Like,
And then he's a friend of the so and so's.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, some socialites or whatever.
Yeah, he just goes up and goes full on nut job on the guy.
Yeah.
He's really starting to kind of spiral out of control.
He does something similar to the judge here too. It's like,
yeah, how do you sentence a man to death and go home and have dinner?
yeah.
The chick to the bottom left, where he ends up demonstrating the choke, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the widow in Witness for the Prosecution. So where Tyrone Powers, it's another kind of way of being narcissistic and entrapment and then ending up killing her. But yeah, that actress played the widow. I don't know who she is, but when I saw her, I was like, oh man, I know that face and I know that voice. So yeah.
Yeah, he's talking to them about murder. How would you murder someone?
Conversation about talking about murdering.
And they're speculating with him. They're speculating with him. I'm just like, what the freak? But you know what? This could have been typical type conversations because it's all speculation and people were bored and they didn't, they had a lot of money and a lot of time on their hands. So there you go.
And like he kind of shoots down, poo-poos all their murder plans. It's like, okay, you're gonna burn him in the car, then you gotta walk home. What?
I mean, not gonna lie, but he kind of has a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just gonna take a gun, bang, bang, bang. Poison, really? That could take too long. I have a better idea. Let me demonstrate.
Crazy.
Because when you think about it, because even the greatest murder mystery novelists of our time and back then especially, they all had to speculate and wonder and have these types of, I wouldn't say these types of parties, but they would have discussions on stuff like this.
Oh yeah.
To be able to get the best, the best written work. But this was interesting. This
then
was
he sees her like, oh.
He goes into almost like a seizure thing.
And then starts strangling the old lady.
and then not only that, but I love the fact that Barbara realizes that he's the one that killed Miriam.
Yeah.
Like she just knows it from there. Like just it's obvious. And she's already established herself to being very smart and intelligent, and it clicks with her. Look at her. I mean, look at the face. Like how do you feel in that moment? Very like horrified. Because imagining Miriam as you. Like like that is
yeah, really.
Again, creepy.
It's a total blackout, doesn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
No, he has to get him out of the party.
Yeah, guys had enough of it too. He's like,
Well, it's like at this point, it's kind of like you need to get out. Like you're just causing all kinds of like you already choked out another, somebody, or not really choked out yet, but I mean you were just doing something
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. You need to get away from me.
Yeah.
Like now.
You show up at this party uninvited after inviting yourself to a luncheon, after accosting me in a rotunda and sending me guns and keys. And it's like, but this guy is not going to let go. He's just like, keep going and going and going.
Yep.
And then she's coming and telling her sister, he was
Yep.
choking me when he was.
And she could tell, like she figured it out. Like I love how she put 2 and 2 together.
yeah,
And I love how intelligent too her sister here, Anne, also figures it out when she took when Barbara takes off her glasses.
yeah,
You know, out of just like just shock.
She knows something's been going on too.
Yeah.
Now her sister telling her this, and then she goes out and now she overhears these two.
Yep.
and there's a difference too between this woman. The wife was kind of didn't looking her to, you know, and she puts it together that there's something weird going on between Guy and this Bruno character.
Mm-hmm. That clearly she know, his claim that he didn't meet him before doesn't add up. Like it just doesn't.
Mm-hmm. I love here where he finally just confesses. He lays it all out. And she's being reasonable too. Like, we can go to the police with this, He's like, really?
It's like, do you think they would still believe me even if I went to them to begin with?
Well, she says something.
Copa's heading out.
Sorry.
Night, Copa. Take
Later,
care.
Copa.
Get some sleep, man.
Have a good one, man. She says to him too, how did you get him to do it? Because she kind of thinks, did you have him do it? And he says, well, if I went to the police, they would ask me the same question.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so crazy. And she even mentions it too. It's so crazy. He said, yes. It's so, you can't tell anybody because they're not going to believe you. The first inclination would be, oh, how did you get this guy to do it? Are you blackmailing him? Are you friends?
I mean, you kind of, it's like, your first inclination is to go to the police to give yourself up. But at the same time, he's right. It's like, even if you went to the police, it still wouldn't have mattered. Like he would be in jail and labeled and a murderer. And there's no way. So he has to figure it out on his own. It's kind of, like something similar, like in the, what's the Harrison Ford movie, Fugitive?
Oh yeah.
Is it the Fugitive,
Yeah.
or is it something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays the doctor.
Yeah. And so it's stuff like that. It's like, no, you almost have to prove your innocence immediately because it's going to end bad if you don't.
Yeah.
Because he didn't ask for this. I mean, in the heat of anything, when you think about this, in the heat of anything, and you don't do, like, of course, people don't do this very often, but you have to put yourself in like human shoes, because people be like, oh, if you say I'm going to kill you, then it means for real. Like, not really. Like, people, like,
people talk a lot of smack.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost
in the heat of the moment.
Whether it's in the heat of the moment or it's like a COD war, COD lobby or whatever. It's like, people say things that they really don't mean. So
yeah, I like this detective too. close to Guy, being friendly with him and stuff, but he's not his job,
He's still got a job to do, and now this is a night shift guy. He's filling him in on. Make sure you watch him. Something
Yeah.
weird's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he calls Bruno and says, "Fine, I'll do this. Let's get it over with."
Mm-hmm.
He makes his little plan to shake his tail and.
Yeah.
This is Bruno's house. He's coming in. He's got the key. He's got the map.
Mm-hmm.
You think he's there to do it?
Oh yeah,
have his back.
It's definitely that kind of lead up to, especially with like the dog on the steps there, and it's just like, whoa, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, no, you think you've got a good guard dog,
Mhm.
Yeah, right. I gotta do is walk up, give it his hand, and let it lick you. Then you're like, you're good.
And that dog is not exactly. Is that a boxer?
I know it's huge.
I thought it was a Great Dane.
Oh,
It looks like a Great Dane.
he probably had peanut butter on his hand.
Yeah, right. Some lotion or something,
Yeah.
Which this is a good.
Melvin's gonna take off. He's gonna. Night, Melvin.
Oh, later,
Melvin.
Melvin.
He's over in the UK, so it's.
Oh gosh, it's nearly 3 a.m. What are you doing? Go to bed. Thank you for being here.
So he's got a good plan here. He's gonna talk with the father, but can you imagine what the father would think of coming in his house at night, waking him up?
And especially somebody he doesn't even know. Like, I mean, recognize in newspapers and such or magazines, but that's not the same as somebody you would like. For instance, if although this would be weird, but if Tom Cruise walked in like that with me, I'd be like, "What are you doing here? We don't even know each other.
What are you doing here, Tom Cruise?" But
yeah,
it'd be like one of the situations where you'd have to hold a gun on the guy. Say, here is the key to your house and a map your son sent me. Oh, by the way, he sent me this gun here.
It's almost like this guy just immediately sets him up to do this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It would have been funny if he would have just shot him dead in the bed. They would have been like, took care of it. Some random rich guy was just murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to do with my wife's murder. But now he's kind of like the person you finally just told, like the persistent friend you don't like, you finally told off to get away from you, or an ex or something. The friendship's over. Now he's going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, he could just shoot him right here.
Yep.
He'd be perfectly within his rights because, this guy's broke into my house.
But because he's a narcissist and he's also very manipulative, he likes to play. Obviously, he likes to play with his victims that he's working with in a way. He can't help himself. This is within his character to kind of let things go, to kind of torture the other individual in a way, and then threatens to leave the lighter at the island to completely end it all. I mean, that's torture. Like you're literally, it's like a cat playing with a mouse before it kills it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this other detective wants to let's just bring him in now, and
Hennessy goes, no, let's let this play out.
Yeah, he knows there's more to this than just bringing him in is not going to do anything.
Yep.
They play it pretty smart. Oh, this is a Hail Mary pass by the.
By
I'm gonna,
Anne
Yeah,
with
yeah, it
the
was.
mom.
I'm gonna meet somebody I never met and try to explain to them their son's a murdering psychopath, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
I
she's a
must
little
say she takes
simple
it a lot better than I would have expected.
minded.
But she's also a little kooky
Yeah,
herself.
Right.
So,
yeah,
you've already kind of get the impression that something's not right with her either.
There's probably been other incidents in their past too where maybe he didn't murder somebody, but something similar.
Like
You
he
know.
didn't like he's been pushing the envelope over, more and more and more each
Yeah.
time he does something.
You know.
She raised him after all. Yep. That is true.
I just want to point something out here. The way the mother leaves the room, just here. And then he comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Feigning ignorance the entire time.
And then like it's almost like she's very submissive, but yeah, completely it's kind of like denial of what is going on of with him, and then he's just been waiting in the shadows to just come right out. And this is
Mm-hmm.
creepy because you can feel her uncomfortableness. Like she's thinking,
Yeah,
"Oh my god, I don't believe you," but he's coming across with a lot of things that are kind of evidentially true.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And now she's in utter confusion, but she's also afraid of him at the same time because he does give off all those vibes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. She knows she's
And
a real
then
danger.
this is what I wanted to point out. He leaves the room almost the exact same way as his mother.
On the same look and kind of yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not normal people.
And
no,
Gord King, you're correct. Alfred Hitchcock and Mothers. Yeah, he had an issue with his mom. So there was a mom character in his movies, then he always portrayed her as not very good. So
yeah. Especially in Psycho.
Oh yeah. So now Guy knows that he's going to get framed for murdering his wife. And he and what's his fiance's name?
Anne.
Anne kind of come up with a plan how to stop him.
Yeah,
He has this big match, and if he can smoke this guy, he can get out of there before Bruno can get to Metcalf and plant the evidence.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
he's got to have his. As soon as the match is over, he's going to dash out into a cab and slip his tail and catch a train and all this. And she's
I love
totally
how I love how supportive she is. Like
yeah.
she truly loves him and really supports him and doesn't wants him to win out in the end because she knows if he doesn't then they'll be separated, and she obviously truly loves him. So
Yeah, she's totally on Team Guy. She believes him. She's always been supportive too, which is another contrast between his.
Miriam and her, yeah.
Yeah,
And I love the fact that Barbara is in on this too. Like she's also
yeah,
super supportive. I mean, you could already give the impression that she already liked Guy. Like but after that scene in the
Yeah,
social event, it's kind of like, yeah, let's do this.
hmm
Like
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. This they're here to pick him up now. The police and this guy's. Let's just pick him up. And he's like, let's let him have the game first.
kind of see, yeah. In a way,
Yeah,
it was his guard. He was his guardian angel. He was overwatching everything, but still holding the police back.
hmm
So he
yeah,
allowing, he didn't know this, but It kind of gives you the impression that he knew what was going on, but he needed to let things play out. It's like crazy like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this whole uh, scene here of him playing tennis and uh, what's Bruno,
Mhm.
going to Metcalf, the tension building,
Yeah, I was
really
gonna say
good.
this is like one of the most tense tennis matches I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And the guy he's playing against actually taught him how to play some tennis. So these scenes he makes it look good, or at least
yeah.
believable enough.
It seemed like a pretty intense tennis match for the time.
Yeah, they were talking about how he's like a methodical player, but he hasn't got time to do that, so he's like really being aggressive in this match.
Well, yeah, he's almost changed up his style to be able to speed up the situation because he's needs to get to Metcalf.
Yeah.
But obviously the situation I mean the stress of the situation regardless is
Hmm.
already showing in his performance. So
Yeah,
I mean it's realistic this way. Like he's trying, his mind is not 100% in the game. Like his mind is split as elsewhere.
yeah. He tries to force it 3 sets and he's done. He gets two, but then the other guy rallies because his plane is so off,
Yeah.
and he almost loses. But even it drags out a lot longer than he wanted it.
Mhm.
So while they're doing this,
And this is intense too. So it's back and forth between watching the
uh huh.
scene and then seeing Bruno yep, heading to Metcalf, and it's like, ugh, like,
Yeah.
Hmm. He
Hurry.
leaves his house. He takes a cab to the train station. He's on the train. He gets off.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, this guy's playing the tennis match of his life, trying to. Yep, now he's on the train.
I like this too. This guy asks for a light, and he puts the lighter back in his pocket and then pulls out matches.
Yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you just do that? I guess he didn't want anybody to see him that he had it.
Yeah.
Well, it could be too that he didn't want to leave it behind like Guy did on the train.
True. Yeah, true.
There was something interesting here. She gives her sister money,
Hmm.
Jacob?
Jacob,
her bill,
the
and
raccoons
they
got you.
they
Jacob,
outlawed it after this movie. Huh?
you cut out. The raccoons took you out.
Oh, oh, those
You were
raccoons.
telling the story about the money. Oh,
Jacob?
he's
And
gone again.
hands her a $10 bill.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, they didn't
Am I
show
good?
money on screen before then, right?
Yeah, they actually showed real money, but the Treasury Department made it illegal to show after this movie to show money on screen or American currency.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. You didn't think about stuff like that
Yeah,
until you. So you notice it, then it's like, oh, that's why the weird money looks weird in all the old movies.
yeah, right. The, I think it was, and it's funny. It was ended like right before Hitchcock started filming Psycho,
Oh yeah,
because then
yeah.
they had that real money in that movie. It's funny.
Mm.
Barbara's getting the getaway vehicle set.
Yeah,
I love Barbara's part in all of this. How and she did a good job. Like I mean, she was
yeah,
she definitely feigned I mean, she was excited for it, but I mean, she feigned it and she was able to distract the police officers
Hmm.
or the detectives.
Oh, here he is. And he has his own little moment of panic here.
Mhm.
because he's playing with the lighter and he gets
Yeah.
bumped, and all of a sudden,
It's like, that's what you get for playing with the
Well,
lighter.
yeah, it's what you get for yep.
and he's yelling at people to help him. And they're like, well, we can call the city and they might get here in a month, And then he finally gets like a little crowd
And
around him too.
somebody pointed out in some of the reviews I was reading that
Mhm.
he's saying, I dropped my cigarette case.
He did.
It's the lighter, he dropped. Yeah. I don't know
Yeah,
if
he did.
it's, he doesn't want to tell people it's a lighter.
I don't know whether that was a goof, like a mistake on their part for not catching it and redoing the scene, or they just let it roll. Maybe it was a goof, but they let it roll with it because it plays into his character of, he didn't reveal the lighter on the train a few minutes ago by offering the
True.
lighter to somebody else. So he doesn't want people to know he has that lighter.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, even if it was, it would have been in his character anyway. So
I was trying to go dive in for it.
mm-hmm.
He almost gets it, then nope. So now you got the tennis match going on, and you got this guy trying to reach down to a storm drain to get the lighter.
And I love it's
Yeah.
like the tennis match intensifies and then this intensifies like the entire time. So it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like a tennis match. It's going back and forth.
Yep.
Over
Who's
the
going
net.
to score first?
This match.
Yep.
It takes a long time for him to get that lighter. I mean, it's like,
Mhm.
millimeters away.
And then he gets it. At this point, I was just like, no.
So he wins the match.
It's funny because the
Finally.
entire time I didn't know how they were going to end this. Like, because I'm like,
Yeah.
how is this going to end? Like, there's got to be, like, you're already thinking of multiple different ways, but you're just like, I don't know. That was the beauty of this too, is that you couldn't predict what was going to happen in the end. Obviously, there's got to be a payoff somewhere, but yeah. And this part, she
I love
spills.
it. She dumps.
A compact on him, and looks like she's going down on him. No.
Blair.
Not about distraction. I mean, he gets the slip, but they pick him up really quick, though.
Oh yeah.
I love this part. It's like, we're following a suspect. We need your car. And she's like, oh, how exciting.
I know. That's why I wondered if it was just like then people were just bored or something. They didn't have anything exciting going on or something like that.
Yeah.
Because some of the dialogue is on like Hollywood movies, especially even back then. They were reflective of the times and the dialogue and the slang and everything else. So it makes you wonder. Or maybe this could have been a social commentary on Hitchcock's part, just like he would hear like Barbara pointing out to her politician dad that line or whatever. It's like, is this like a social commentary on things? But
yeah, so they clock him, and they, instead of getting him, they know something's up. So
yeah.
they decide to contact the Metcalf police and say, pick him up, hail him when he gets there, instead of just grabbing him right there.
Yeah.
Which I think, that is a very smart move on their part because they don't have any true evidence yet. I mean,
Hmm.
they might have reason to, reason for it, but they don't have true evidence, so they have to let him. I mean, in a way, they have to think like police and let him.
Hain
Uh
himself, rather.
yeah, exactly. Direct them to the crime. So I don't
Yeah.
blame them in that instance. They're doing their jobs.
Chilwell came back in when he had the still frame of that girl. She spilled her compact on the cops and was distracted
Yeah.
them. But
Mhm.
the way it looked was rather suggestive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the shots between all of the both of them looking at the sun each time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in a race now against the
Then he
sun.
gets slowed down here because the island's been closed since the murder,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
he has to wait for it to open back up.
Yeah, he's like, "What time does it open tonight or whatever?"
yeah. When's the sun go down?
Mhm.
Once they do it in the darkness.
I agree, Roman. Chili shake and a chili dog. Sounds good actually.
Hmm.
Yeah, that does sound good.
So there's this guy just like making a point of now there's a lot more people on the island because it's, ooh, this is the scene of the crime and
Hmm. And
humanity
he's
hasn't
Yeah.
humanity hasn't changed, y'all. We just have phones in our hands at this point.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's funny how the guy's like he feels like offended that people would. It's very ghoulish that you go to the scene of a murder,
Yeah.
even though this guy did the murder. He
Yeah.
thinks it's weird for other people to,
I mean, it is. I mean, he's not wrong in that
Yeah.
regard. Like, why? What?
But of
No.
all the people to have moral judgment on anything.
Yeah. But also, too, this could be too many. It could be too many people, in the area for him to even try to plant the evidence.
Hmm. Yeah, and plus, you think they would have combed that island pretty good when they found her body.
Yeah.
How are they going to explain this
Yeah.
big, giant, gold ass lighter on the ground? Oh, we must have missed that for an entire week.
Yeah. Like it's very unique. It's not like it's not
Classic
like
Zippo thing that we have today.
yeah. It's probably even like like not handmade, but crafted just for him. So
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, the
very unique.
size, the very unique, the size, everything. It's just yeah, handmade for him.
Yeah. And the police are talking to that guy that runs their uh, boats,
Hmm.
Mhm.
And now he clocks the
and
guy
he sees
Bruno.
Bruno.
And
Yeah.
that perfect witness, the perfect witness. When they um uh,
Looks like he's in the shadow and keeps creeping forward,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he gets exposed.
Yeah.
The lights on him.
This shot we were talking about this. We were talking about this type of shot when we did the shadow. When I did the shadow review, they used this technique a lot.
Mhm.
So yeah, this guy recognizes him.
Well, because they're saying we want to see Guy Gaines or whatever, and let us know he's on his
Yeah.
way, recognize him. And he's like, he recognizes Bruno. He
Hmm.
thinks that's Guy, but
Yeah.
There's the person.
uh-huh.
I love uh guy goes running after him to get on the carousel,
Yep.
and the policeman
Shoots the guy. I'm like,
I know. I'm like,
uh,
what the heck?
guy.
somebody's in trouble. Well, back in the 50s, that's like collateral damage, but today that would
Yeah.
be the end of you're going to prison,
That'd be
officer.
yeah, you'd be going to prison. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That was
Shieldwall makes a
Yeah.
good comment.
uh yeah. Shield Yeah, but it was modern times. There would be 10 times as many women there than men. Some 75-year-old granny would have the case solved in 5 minutes with her iPhone. Yeah, very true. Actually, are you talking about
Yeah, yeah.
Jessica Fletcher with an iPhone?
Yep. I can see Angela Lansbury rocking the latest iPhone app, you know.
Yep. But yeah, this was intense. I'm not gonna lie. This carousel thing, especially when it goes off the chain, basically.
I love how the kids are like, "Yay!"
Oh
and all the
yeah.
moms are like,
I love the little
"No,
kid though. He's like, yeah, this is fun.
this is cool." Now the mothers are like, "My baby."
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a spectator sport too with this.
Yeah, everybody's just standing
Yeah,
around watching it.
And then the oldest guy in the group is like, I will take care of it. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
This was a real stunt.
yeah. And Hitchcock said he would never do anything like that again. He was so scared that
Yeah,
it's funny when he's crawling under there, he like stops him off his brow, and one of the cops is like, makes a comment, and like, well, were you gonna go do it? It's, no, he's doing fine. You go, Grandpa.
I guess he can do it.
Yeah, yeah. I guess he's got it after all. Yeah, there is. Gorkin murder. She texted. Yeah, that would have been the. Now the whole thing's coming to a fever pitch. Merry-go-round spinning like crazy. These two guys are, fighting it out.
mm-hmm.
It's like it's reached the climax. Oh yeah, you try to throw the kid off, but then he saves him.
Yeah,
Yep. This struggle was interesting. It was very intensified by the carousel going crazy.
Yeah, because
And
they're getting like swooped off to the side, and here for a
yeah.
second it looks like he's going to go off, but then he grabs that in the last second and
yep.
he's trying to smash his fingers.
I love how
But
this
this
guy he stops midway and wipes his face of sweat.
I know it's like, come on, old man, do it.
I was going to take a drink too, but
I don't know. I could take a drink after this.
He's like, I need some alcoholic courage,
Right, it's awful. And then here's what he does.
He
He
gets
gives
in
up,
there and shuts it off, and it
just slams the brake. Not just take it out of gear, let it slow. It's like
stops.
boom. And all these people probably died. Kids, mothers.
There would have been people suing after all of this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
lawsuits.
yeah.
Oh galore.
Lawsuits.
And I thought I mean, it's a screen there, but I thought they did a pretty good job on doing that,
Oh yeah, it looked.
showing the carousel crashing and stuff. I thought that was a good job.
It goes up in the air, and then he just slams to the ground, just completely breaks.
And then this guy is the one that says, "No, I didn't recognize that
Yeah, I've never
actual
seen
guy.
this guy before.
I recognize Bruno."
The other guy he was fighting.
Yeah, and so they're just kind of like,
Oh, thank God.
Oh.
Yeah, finally.
somebody, yeah. Like again, he's like, I've not been here. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, Showball, just put it in neutral. No, he just slams the brake down and to hell with everybody.
I like too how at the very ends here, like obviously he's either gonna die or something else, is succumb to his injuries somehow, but or go on to unconsciousness because it's a very bad accident.
yeah.
He still holds on to the notion that he doesn't have the lighter.
Mm-hmm. I wish I could help you, guy, but I just can't.
and till his, he still had it in his hand.
That's true. Yep.
It's
An alt-right conspiracy.
alt-right conspiracy.
Yeah, right.
I loved how he had it in his hand, because they would have gone through his pockets, they would have found it, because he had it clutched
Yeah.
in his fist. It's only after he dies that opens up. And
now that you mentioned the whole lobsters on his
tie.
he had it in his
Yeah.
claws
Yes.
until he had to
Yeah,
let it
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yep. In his grasp.
He had the whole thing in his claws until the very end. Then
Yep.
it totally exonerates him, because now.
And his perfectly manicured fingernails.
Yep.
Yep.
And now the police.
Even though the boat guy, it obviously exonerated him, guy, saying like, I don't recognize this dude, but I recognize the other dude.
Yeah.
That should at least give the police a clue, like, hey, this is clearly not, guy is not the one who murdered, but clearly having the substantial evidence of the lighter completely
that finally nails it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like this. I like this part. They something to do with the depth of field. They didn't have enough.
Uh-oh.
Nope.
And
Raccoon's got you again, Jacob.
So
Jacob, you were botted again.
Oh no! It's those raccoons. They're coming after me.
Yeah.
Hitchcock made a larger phone for this shot, so he could get the shot he wanted.
Yeah.
Do you notice too how obviously Anne is stressed and upset, but then Barbara, she's kind of on the edge of her seat, but she's kind of calmer. So there's a different level there and because she's reading something, and then her dad is just completely chill.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's different levels of stress going on.
Reading the newspaper.
Anyway, go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, so the bigger phone, when it cuts up, so you don't see the big phone, and somebody hands her a real phone, to pick up the phone.
Because the camera lenses weren't such where they could have a regular phone and then the people in the background.
Yeah.
So they made a giant phone prop, and then when the camera tilted up, they moved out and gave her a regular one. I know
he'll be home tomorrow. And I love this last scene here.
Oh, I love it too. And he goes, "Are you Guy Gaines?"
I think he an Anglican priest or something, and he's like,
"Yeah."
He does what he should have done at the very beginning of the movie. Just gets up and leaves.
He's kind of like, you know what? This is what got me into trouble to begin with. I am gonna walk away. I mean, look at even her look. She's just like out.
Oh no.
And we feel, because even with the newspaper's up like this, you don't see the collar until it's like really like you see his full body like this. So he's just like, but I don't blame Guy or Anne walking away. It's like now you're just gonna change your behavior, how you're gonna interact with people on a train.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's amazing that one experience can make you change. Yep, set up and payoff in a story. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And there were subversions in this story too, subversions of expectations, and he clearly executed it pretty well.
They would do a remake. They would Guy would be a woman. She'd be a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno would still be a white guy because he's evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep, yep. And what is it?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can
Okay, I'm
Barbara
back.
Barbara would be a commentator. She'd be the activist or whatever
So, what are y'all guys' last thoughts on this movie?
Ooh, excellent.
yeah. It's a very, very good movie. Very good. Excellent, excellent choice. Thank you, Jacob. Definitely. I mean, it didn't had excellent payoff, like Shield said. Um, Definitely had proper subversions of expectations, but not to the point where it's like jarring. It just completely changes your perspective and prediction, and it keeps you on your feet where you're not going to be predicting what's going to happen in the next shot or next,
Hmm.
next circumstance. It completely completely kept you on your toes, and you didn't feel like you already knew the ending of the story already. Like you're just like, what else is going to happen? Like the poor guy is like can't get a break. So and definitely the Hitchcock nailed the creepiness factor and the uncomfortableness factor. He knows how to be able to write that and not script that, but like direct that into a film. He knows how to do that. And he's really good at artistic shots to be able to give that perspective or give that symbolism. It gives the audience an idea of what's going on. A lot of times people forget about it's not just it's the dialogue, it's the music, it's the acting, the facial expressions, but it's also the cinematography, the art around it too that completes that picture. And I think people forget that nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah. The I like how this guy was in an impossible situation they had no control over just because of a casual meeting on a train,
Yeah.
and just how sideways his life goes after meeting the wrong person. You know,
Yep.
you have no power, you can't
yeah,
do anything. You can't go to the police. What do you do?
Yeah.
And the creepiness, and the guy Bruno, just how unhinged he, kept going and going. You really knew he was a real threat,
Yep.
especially after you saw him kill that woman in just cold blood and walk off like nothing happened.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a Hitchcock movie.
No, he never disappoints, that's for sure.
And this was
um
a big hit for him. I guess he'd had a few that didn't make money, and then this was like the third or fourth one he made, and it finally scored some money.
yep. I read that too in the trivia side. Um, this, I mean, uh-oh, we
Oh, we
lost
lost him.
Jacob.
They got him.
The raccoons got him. Welcome to the MagitekMags and Blair to Blair show.
There you go.
um, but no, I definitely recommend this movie to anybody.
Oh yeah.
One of you, I'm not a big The Birds or Psycho fan of some of his work, the ones that really do push like the horror element on envelopes and certain things. I love a good intrigue, thrill,
Hmm.
suspense, keeps you on your toes type of movie. And
yeah,
I think that's to me, I feel like that's Alfred Hitchcock's sweet spot where he's very on edge and he gets the audience very on edge and uncomfortable with a lot of this stuff. And I think that makes for far more intriguing and fascinating story.
I agree.
Um,
I love his thrillers much more than like of course, the Birds and Psycho are his biggest ones,
right.
but it's the other ones I like a lot more.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, me
And
too.
I'm not, I mean, I'll admit I'm not a big horror fan, so there might be something along those lines. And that's where the Birds and Psycho to me is I would consider horror. Um, but I think there's a lot more creativity in
Yeah,
trying to be on the borderline of stuff.
Hmm.
That's why I think his work, his sweet spot is really like suspense and thriller, and just keeping you on your toes and thinking, like in this movie, like what's going to happen next, because clearly, he's already subverted my expectations like 3 or 4 times. Like I have no idea what's going to happen. I hope Guy gets out of this, and
Yeah.
you almost feel like he's not. That's the trick.
Yeah,
That's a
there's a very
losing
real
situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a real chance that he's going to get put in prison for the rest of his life, and you'll just see him on the train chatting up somebody else to
Yeah.
Yeah.
continue this.
Yeah. So, highly recommend. Very good movie. Thank
Yeah.
you,
Definitely.
Jacob.
Yeah.
This has been fun. It's a
Yeah,
movie that I've never seen, so
yeah, I
Yeah. I'm
saw it
glad
first
y'all.
time today
I'm glad
too.
y'all liked it.
yeah.
I have to check out some more of his stuff now, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yep.
Hitchcock is, he has these suspenseful movies, but then he has a movie like The Problem with Charlie. If you've seen that one, is that the right name for it? It's kind of a comedy. It's more of a comedy suspense movie.
Kind of like a dark comedy,
Yeah.
because I could see that totally being in his. You know, I think he probably did a really dark comedy, almost to the point where it's not like really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Or ghoulish than
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. It's funny the range um of gosh, the range of thrill and suspense that he was able to play with. Here you go from The Bird, Psycho, to a movie like to is it did he do, I think he did to Catch a Thief, right? With Cary Grant and
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Hmm.
So and that is like that's just thrill. It's fun. It's a fun thrill, and so it has a little suspense there too. Um, but it's almost harmless compared to, like, if you compare like Psycho and that to Catch a Thief. It's like
Yeah.
it's like it's very harmless. So
Yeah. Yeah.
And thing like Psycho, it wasn't a supernatural thing. It was just a guy.
yeah,
It was crazy.
The crazy
yeah,
guy.
crazy guy.
And the birds, you don't know exactly what happened. Was that some type of a natural event or whatever? Hey, Salty.
Hey, Salty. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Psychological horror thriller. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
So that's coming up on. We've gone over a little bit of 2 hours. Great,
Ooh,
great stream.
great stream.
So
Nice. Covered it all.
so y'all got anything coming up y'all want to shout out?
Go ahead, Blair.
Okay.
You go first.
This Thursday, I'm going to be on Roman with the Empire. We're doing kind of another free range episode. We're just going to talk about general stuff. We had a topic, but a lot of things were busy this week, so I'll actually be coming late. My daughter's last concert recital is this Thursday, so I'll be joining when I can. And then, that's all I got going on. And then I think sometime after that, we're going to revisit The Thing on Roman's channel and talk about
Yes.
the Carpenter one, The Thing from Another Planet, the 1950s sci-fi monster movie, and then the source material, Who Goes There. But yeah, we did that on a Halloween stream a while back. That was a pretty good stream we did, so we wanted to come back and revisit, because I think we did 4 hours on that, and we could have done 4 or more hours easily. And there's a lot of information on it back there. But yeah, that's coming up this Thursday. Is the free range format.
You should, Roman. You should have free range chickens as on your thumbnail.
He did. He does.
Yeah, he
does.
does. He
Yeah.
does.
That's
Free
great.
range.
Free range.
Great. It is.
And for me, tomorrow I am going to be doing a interview on actually JT. I don't know if I heard of JT Gunn, late night with Cap
Yeah.
on his
Yeah.
channel.
Mm-hmm.
And so he'll be interviewing me tomorrow night at 9:30.
Cool.
I think it's 8:30 p.m. Central Time, so it's 9:30 p.m. Eastern for me. So I will be on his channel, and we'll be talking about generalized topics. I'm sure he'll be asking me questions about stuff. So yeah, so come check out that interview on his channel. Go subscribe to him too to make sure you're, keep up with notifications and such. And then on Thursday, I'll be doing my usual Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster game stream, but I am kind of pushing the time till 10 o'clock. And the reason being is because my mother didn't get a proper Mother's Day, so my dad and I are taking her out to dinner
That's
that
nice.
night.
That's great.
So we pushed it, and I pushed it till 10 o'clock. Hopefully that will be enough buffer to allow proper time with my mom and celebrating her for Mother's Day. So, but anyway, yep, that's
Cool.
it right now. Coming up, I will be using the weekend to have a little fun outside of YouTube and such. So just trying to touch grass. As they like to but
Yeah.
they like to make complain about us all the time. I'm like, no, I'm actually doing my part. So but yeah,
Yeah, so,
go subscribe to everybody here, y'all.
yeah.
Jacob,
Yeah.
what do you got coming up?
Next week will be a little change of pace. I'll be doing The Fifth Element.
Ooh, that's
Ooh.
interesting.
Is Roman going to be on the show?
Oh, I was thinking about inviting him.
That's his
Maybe
favorite movie.
I'll say that I'm doing a different movie and then switch it.
There you go. Switch. Watch his reactions.
He hates that.
I know.
And I just want to make an announcement. I'll be doing a new show. I'm not sure what day, but I'll be doing a new show called All in the Mix, and it'll just be a general discussion show. So that'll be coming up.
Cool.
So keep your eyes out for that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So that's about it for me.
Yeah.
And you can, hey y'all, you can subscribe and follow all of us here on Twitter and YouTube. So
After the stream, the link should be down below, so you should be able to get everybody's information.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank y'all for coming on. Glad y'all could come on and enjoy this good movie for the first time.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, this is great. Thank you for having me, and thank you for introducing me to this. So it's always good. I always like finding new movies, even in the classic era. Even though I love classic film, even I will find a movie that I've never seen before. So thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the 30th too. I'm doing the Oxbow Incident, which is a old Western from, I think it's 42 or something. It's quite an old one, but it's pretty good. It's about a lynching.
Ooh,
it's a really, really thought-provoking examination of a lynching.
Interesting. Gotcha.
Okay.
Good.
But check that movie. I suggest that movie. Watching that movie. It's a good one. It's only about an hour and 20-minute movie, I think, something like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, they made them short back.
Very thought-provoking.
Short and sweet.
Well, thanks to the chat for coming and hanging out with us. Y'all have a good one. Y'all have a good week, and we'll see y'all. I'll see y'all next time.
Night.